Hey there, Greg with Boom Up Engineering, and here's a DJI Action 5 Pro. I just got this camera, and a big reason was so that I could get rid of the seldomly used GoPro 9 that I'd had for the last few years. I definitely didn't like the GoPro. Bought this DJI for a couple particular reasons. One of them was that you can run a DJI microphone and pair it directly with the Action 5. And then this camera doesn't seem to overheat like the GoPros do. But I have limited experience with it thus far. But what I wanted to talk about is the cage that this camera comes with. I do think it's a good idea to have some sort of protection on the camera, especially it being as small as it is. It's easy to fumble something like this and drop it. My cell phone always has a case on it because I drop that thing all the time. And with this camera, it's nice that it comes with a cage, but it's not nice that you have to remove the camera from the cage every time you want to pull the battery out. Camera slips out relatively easily, but you hate to have to keep going in and out with the dang thing just to change the battery. So if you have some time on your hands, if you don't want to buy an aluminum cage that adds a lot of weight, and they cost $40 or whatever, just adds more cost to an already expensive item. Like I say, if you have some time on your hands and are willing to put in a little bit of effort, you can take things like this, a little grinder with a straight, I use this straight carbide cutter quite a bit, 1/8 inch diameter, and maybe a tree burr or whatever your preference is. There's a slitter wheel. You can spend some time and cut out the side of this case and make it look at least reasonably nice. This doesn't look too bad. There's one edge here where it has some, it's not a solid plastic. This case isn't solid plastic right there. It's got some infill, kind of like you do with your 3D prints if you have a 3D printer. But anyway, you can carefully hog this out so that you can push up on your battery door. It clears at the top, and the door opens at least most of the way. There's a piece here that you have to keep in place to tie the two sides of the case together. But you can hog this whole side out. You'll lose your mount capability to rotate the camera 90 degrees from mounting on the bottom. But you can do all that and have access to the battery. Works just fine. So that's what I did. It was not easy. There's some embedded metal. I don't know if it's aluminum. It could be aluminum or steel. I didn't really play with it much. It didn't really cut that great because you've got a mixture of plastic that melts and plugs up your cutter wheel. And so it's definitely no fun, and it definitely took me a lot longer than I thought it would. But it is possible. That's what I did. I'm happy with the results. The alternative, at least that I had, was this cheap silicone case, which, works okay, but you can see that it's pretty floppy. There's no reinforcement or anything to help this thing maintain its shape. It's just thin silicone. And so you put that on here, and it, these long sections here with no ties between the other one side to the other, it can move around. So this thing could hit. Maybe the corner protection might slide and the camera might hit a little bit. But I think overall it did decent. But I kind of like this now. So that's something you can do with your camera, and it won't cost you any extra money. The other thing I could mention, I've been messing around with mounts. I've got two different cameras. I've got an Insta360 here, which I'm not necessarily going to say that I love this thing. It does some cool stuff, allows you to do some things you can't do with any other camera with its 360-degree view, but the quality isn't nearly the same for picture quality. And then you spend a lot of time trying to post-process your videos to get a decent view for your movie. So, but how do you make it convenient to mount these little cameras and swap them around, or do whatever, so the typical GoPro thing are these prongs right here. And you know, they work, and you know, and I thought the Action 5 with this magnetic mount would be awesome, you know, and I guess it's okay. But I just wish more than anything now that they included a 1/4-inch female thread on the bottom of the camera. I've been messing around with this Falcam quick mount setup. You know, these little base plates slide into these receivers and lock in tight, and it seems to work reasonably well and doesn't cost you know, they cost a few bucks, but seem to work well. Been messing with that. So anyway, I decided that I would want to try to have this base plate on my cameras, so that on like a tripod or anything else, I'll have a receiver like this. This would be for a helmet cam. Looking to see if I have my helmet here. So here is a Protos helmet. For a lot of people use it for arborist work. So I do have the typical GoPro mount on top, and I've added the Falcam quick attach there. Now, yes, you can slide the GoPro piece out there, but it's kind of a pain in the butt. Your visor's in the way, and you're trying to work the GoPro thing, get it out, and you definitely can do that. But like I said, I wanted to use the Falcam stuff, or at least try. So here it is. There's no 1/4-inch thread on the bottom of these. When you get the camera, they send you 2 of these adapters or mounts, magnetic mounts, and this is the short version. They give you a long version. It's got longer ears, so I took that version. I cut the ears off, hit it with a belt sander to make sure it was all flat across here. Drilled out I believe it was a 7/32 hole through the center of the piece here, and then I threaded in that screw, and that's what I've done thus far. But what I'll probably end up doing is, I don't know if you can see, but there's some cavity here. I may fill that with some epoxy, or I just think I'm just going to permanently bond this Falcam base plate to the DJI base there, so I don't have to worry about it coming detached. I mean, it seems really strong by threading that screw into the plastic and let it make its own threads. You know, this is some sort of glass, you know, fiber reinforced plastic. It seems quite strong, but I don't have any great experience with how strong this is. It seems strong, but like I say, I'm probably going to permanently bond that. So those are the 2 mods I've done to this Action 5 camera to make it a little better protected, make it mountable in my preferred fashion. Seems to work pretty good. I don't recall seeing any other cases besides aluminum cases that give you the battery door access like this. And with my experience with the GoPro in a small rig case, when you add the aluminum cage around it, it just becomes too big and heavy. So see what you think. Comment below. Let me know what you've done to mount or protect your camera, and yeah, maybe you've got some better ideas. Thanks for watching.